Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Subrata Sarker. I'm a mechanical engineer working in manufacturing industry more than 22 years. Today, I'll be discussing one of the national problem of ours, that is water scarcity. Many people have idea that why there is so much of water in oceans and rivers and underground, so why there is a water scarcity. But many people doesn't have idea actually what is the amount of the water which is drinkable. If we talk about the total global water, out of which 96.5% is the ocean water which is not drinkable. And there are other areas where 1% is a saline water. So fresh water which can be drank, that is only 2.5%. But out of 2.5%, there are 70% which is covered by the glaciers and ice caps, and groundwater is about 30%. And surface groundwater, you'll find that is only 1.2% out of 2.5%. Now then, surface fresh water, that is 1.2%, if we subdivide that, you'll find that ground ice is 70% out of which, and lake is 21%, different lakes. Atmosphere is taking 4%, and ponds and other water areas is 1.5%, and for the living, like for animals and human, only 0.25% of 1.2%. So if you see the calculations, so it comes like that. If in the whole world there is a 13 lakhs liter of water, only 1 liter is drinkable. You can see here in these calculations. The animals are dying, due for not getting water in many countries. Actually, many of us are not aware of it. And in agriculture is majorly affected by not getting the water, And we are making the, canals are making for coming water, but there is no water in the canals. There is no water scarcity in the river itself also. And in many drying areas or close to the desert, you will find that there is a very, very extreme scarcity of the water, and it is a very, very shame figure for us. The same water areas, the animals are drinking water, and the human beings are also drinking water in India. This picture is from some places in village of Rajasthan area. And this is also Indian picture. The people walk more than 10 kilometers just to get one bucket of water for daily drinking. So those who we are a city in city and getting water pipeline connections, we are not feeling this what is the pain actually people are having in different parts of the areas. There are a lot of places where the wells are getting dried. The scarcity of water in the cities, scarcity of water in the villages, everywhere actually there is a scarcity of water. So we need to understand the value of the water, drinkable water. We should not waste water. We should not pollute the water, so that drinkable water, quantity of the drinkable water can be increased. If you see the global per capita of the water availability, India's position is also very bad actually. And this per capita India's water is a 1545 cubic meter. It means one person in India can get in a whole year as 1545 cubic meter water is available for him to drink on an average. And day by day, this is a projection is showing that day by day is getting a situation is going to be very, very worse actually. And if we talk about the global water consumption or the requirement in the whole world, as on 2018, the total amount of the water needed is 4500 billion cubic meter, out of which Asia itself only is needed 3000 billion cubic meter, and where major contributor of consumption is India and China. You can see here in this picture, this picture. Now in India, though there are a lot of rivers, but the most of the river, out of like few, like for example say Brahmaputra, these are the exception, but rest of the river there is a huge crisis of the water actually, like Kaveri, Godavari, Narmada, Ganges, everywhere water demand of water is not as per the expected actually. And India's water requirement in 2017, it was 1100 billion cubic meter. Now, in water management, there is a term called the water stress. Water stress is basically when demand of water exceed the availability of the water for some period of time in a year. All water consumption or the use is restricted because of the quality of the water. This is called water stress. Water stress is basically not indication of non-availability of the water with respect to the demand. Now, if we talk about the global water stress map, here the India's position is also very, in the extreme condition. Actually, it is very, bad position. Actually, this because the 54% of India's area is facing the water stress, and 100 million people living in different part of the India where there is a crisis of the quality water, And on an average, statistics say the 4% of the rural people forced to drink contaminated and unhealthy water in India. You'll find that they don't have well, they don't, no facility, they are getting water somehow, from digging the sands, and they are accumulating the water and they're drinking it. And statistics say, in every 4 hours in India, one person is dying only because of drinking contaminated or unhealthy water. So this is the present situation of the water. You all need to understand what is the scarcity, what is the problem actually. And if we talk about the water standard rank of India in the whole world, there is a ranking process, like which country has got good this facility of the water actually. There are 132 countries. So out of 132, India's rank comes in 122, because India has got about 17 to 80% of the whole world's population. We have a huge population, but the total land of India is 2.4% of the global land, and 4%, the total water content in India is 4% of the whole world's water. So we have people around 17 to 80% of the whole world, and we have water available 4%. So obviously there will be a crisis of water. So management of water and proper utilization of the water is very, very important actually. And water is very much, water availability is very much important for India, and also directly connected with the GDP growth rate actually, because in the major economy depends on the agriculture. So if there is not water availability is not the sufficient of the desired quantity, so it affects the GDP also. So this is very, very important actually areas where we need to focus. We as common people, we need to understand the value of the water, and we should not misuse the water, and we should not pollute the water actually. And if we see the main 4 or 5 reasons for the water crisis in India, number one is the climate change. We have a lot of different types of the climates, and rapid industrialization and urbanization is one of the major contributor for water crisis in India. And there is a continuous population growth actually, like maybe now if government is not controlled, after 20 years India will be the world largest populated country, and China will be the second actually. So we need to control that is also. And there is a huge mismanagement of the water resources, that is fourth reason. And the wastewater management practice is also not up to the mark in India. That is another reason actually, things are not improved actually. So you find this presentation and information are very, very important. You can share with your friends, and if you have not yet subscribed my channel, you can subscribe my channel by clicking on this bell icon, so that you can get the notification for my future presentation. Thank you so much for your attention and time.